Okay, so this is my video on the New World Order. I've seen as you probably have, every single video that could be written or developed to show, people goose-stepping down the street with black boots and anything from FEMA camps to spray painting different colored circles and crosses on your ground to tell you whether you're going to be killed or used as a slave. I come from a perspective that believes that if something is hyped up, it must be bullshit. So, based on that theory, and it is a theory, this is what I think the New World Order is doing and what it continues to do. I don't believe, or I don't think, that we're going to have this horrendous goose-stepping event, or the government doesn't have to. Now this is, of course, it's a blog, and I'm not backed up by any information other than what I've seen, and it's more stuff I've gleaned from than anything overt. But it comes down to this. People are already being controlled by low-tech means. They don't need, nanotechnology or spray painting the ground to prevent riots, or even really need. And I believe that there are. I've seen the FEMA coffins. They can't be anything other than coffins, but I think they're using those, or they're keeping those in the case of rioting at first. It's easier for people to kill each other off without the government. And if you don't believe me, I will put over here the video of the LA riots, and what the police and authorities did in general was just circle LA and let everybody kill each other off. And that's what they're planning. That's very low tech. Nobody needs to, you don't need a large force. You don't need to do something that's so heinous when your brother will do it for you for nothing. And that is really what's going on. Also, we have already, this whole 500,000, I'm referring to the Georgia Guidestones, 500 million population, world population. It's being done now. If you don't believe me, look around you. See how many people have one child or no children in the ages of 25 to 45. Either because they've been predisposed to not having children, because the media has taught them not to have children, or due to infertility. Now, I used to do medical billing for infertility, and it's funny how the majority of the people who were infertile, and I'm referring to women, all were placed on birth control first, so they wouldn't have pregnancies, and then they would come back. And these were women that ranged from 22 to 42, so it wasn't just because they just waited too long. When you add hormones to a normal system, it's just natural that you'll put that system in imbalance. So also, I don't believe the population numbers that they're increasing. I don't believe that. I know it's a rhetorical, circular question, proving a negative with a negative, but I don't know what a billion looks like, a billion people look like. So I don't know if I can trust the numbers. I do know this: there are less and less people living in the city of New York. If there's supposed to be such a great overcrowding of populations, how come there are lots of apartments that are free and people are not living on top of each other? I mean, in the 70s and 80s, there were 3-4 generations or a number of families living in one apartment building. It's not happening anymore. So I don't think they have to do mass sterilizations. People are just doing it of their own volition because they want to have sex without the consequences, and suddenly the consequences are that they can't have kids. Or they're taught that having lots of children or having any children is a burden. to your career, because, look, I believe in equal pay for equal wage regardless of sex, but it's interesting that we went from a one breadwinner household to a two breadwinner household, but yet people still can't save any money, and they're living as if they were both working part-time. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting how that whole, basically what I'm trying to say is you don't need the high tech. Low tech works really well, and it is working. And I can almost say to you that by the time of the end of my life, if I live to be 80 years old, I will probably see a third or less, or more rather, a third to a half of the population that I see right now. So that's just a warning to you. I don't think that they need to goose step to overturn you. People hate change, and people want conformity, and they're getting it. And you don't need guys in black suits with SWAT teams to enforce it. As long as they're getting cheese, they're getting their breads and circuses, they're being entertained, the masses will continue to do whatever the government asks. And that's really what a social welfare state is. People can piss and moan about their job or lack of a job, but if you've ever been to Europe, which is a good example, they have 8, 10, 12% unemployment, and these people are not dumb, ignorant people who don't speak the language or are not educated or not skilled. They're very skilled. Some of them have PhDs, but they get food, and in case of Germany, which is a really good example, they get 2 weeks vacation being unemployed. It's the ultimate in bread and circuses. You keep the masses happy, they're not going to insurrect. And it doesn't matter. You just have to feed them enough and keep them entertained enough. So FEMA camps and stuff, I don't think they're necessary, even if they do exist, because they don't need to use them. The majority of people are going to do exactly what the government tells them, as long as they keep feeding them, housing them, and ultimately employing them, either in the government or in some lesser effect. And they will work to pay off debt they'll never pay off, which goes back to my earlier video. So that's my view of the New World Order. They'll get their 500 million people on the planet, because people would rather screw than have children, because they've been told screwing's good, parenting bad. And you guys who think that you're going to bail out of your debt, no, that is going to be the motivation that's going to force you out the door every 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to work at a dead-end job because, as the bumper sticker I see when I used to drive to work, I owe, so off to work I go. This is not high-tech, kids. This is not a chip in the arm or the head. They don't need to do it. And if they did, then that would cause an insurrection by about 10% of the total population. But they don't have to, because the people want what they're going to get. So that's my view on the New World Order. It's more of a ramble or a rant, but I think I shared the gist with you. Peace.